Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Survival in the Wilderness. I have a Dragon Ball. World's top explorer, wilderness survival expert, wildlife researcher, Mofan. During an underwater exploration, he obtained the legendary Dragon Ball and was reborn into a parallel world, where he was selected as a member of the Wilderness Survival program jointly founded by 6 major countries. As long as you survive for 1 year, you can receive $1 billion prize. So, as a world-class wilderness survival expert, Mofan felt no pressure. And there is also a Dragon Ball inside the body, which can obtain various extraordinary abilities through continuous fusion. From the simplest steps of being physically strong, breathing in water, controlling ***, and predicting the weather, to terrifying, cloud and rain, control lightning, master the 5 elements, and transform the true dragon. Wild Shuangwen. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Thank you to my beloved XL for giving me a reward. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Thank you, Starlight, for giving me a reward. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Feilu's novel, Fei wants you to look good. Thank you for the support of outrageous flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For the pseudo-divine super evil, a distance of several thousand miles is just an instantaneous issue. However, just as this powerful breath enters the sacred knowledge of our people, it is a powerful breath that enters the sacred knowledge, while the front and back breaths enter the sacred knowledge. Wow, wow, the sound of breaking the sky rang out, and light and shadows swept through the void, flying towards the direction of my people. Turning my gaze towards the sky, watching this figure leap over my hiding place, I enthusiastically relaxed. Because the other party did not come for them, nor did they find their presence, they just passed by here. Just as a few people breathed a sigh of relief, something almost happened. Bang, wow, in the void, a destructive sound wave broke through the space, and a beam of meteor-like light penetrated the gap, directly bombarding the newly flying figure, and this power was terrifying to the extreme. The power of emptiness alone disrupts space into fragments. You can imagine the strength of the strong people behind you, and how terrifying the attacks under such light and shadow can be. I can clearly see inside the shooting star like light and shadow is a long arrow, and its fear of destruction is directly bombarded ahead. If hit by this long arrow, even those who are powerful in the false gods will be killed. When I saw this situation, I felt speechless. I can encounter all kinds of luck. I can't play well in other places, but I can play in some hidden areas. Although they are protected by architectural palaces, destructive attacks pose a threat to them. If they are not defended and resisted, they will be affected by destructive attacks. If defensive measures are used, they will leak out. In the sky of the divine city, all buildings are incredibly powerful, no matter how terrifying the power may be. The strong attack of the pseudo-divine peak at Chufeng, and the buildings that do not want to shake the coins here, cannot be destroyed. However, the power of the strong can ignore the buildings and directly affect the strong here. This strange celestial city is almost speechless. Such a powerful building cannot withstand the attacks of the strong and cannot protect the hidden people. These buildings are like transparent generals. But the only benefit is that the building will not be destroyed, and no one can penetrate the building with their eyes, but this building is no different from an ordinary house. Defense, I feel the power of destruction, and if I don't defend myself, I will be affected by the attack. When the sound falls, the defense unfolds and the breath opens simultaneously. Rumble, a shocking explosion spread the power that destroyed the sky and earth, and within a range of thousands of miles, everything except the palace was destroyed. A destructive attack swept over my people, and a few of them were shaken. But I think this power is so powerful, and even has such a terrifying impact. Why, at this moment, two surprises appeared in the air simultaneously. When the surprise appeared, the sky turned into a thick atmosphere, and a figure suspended in the air. The two characters are suspended in the air, with a surprised expression on their faces. It's not surprising that there are other powerful beings in this place. The strong ones who can reach the heavenly God's city are all facing evil in the sky. For a while, both faces showed expressions of fear, and the gods looked down at me. The gods looked into my eyes. "Come out," the strong person standing behind roared as terrifying sound waves hit me. The sound waves pass through the building and come straight down towards me. The power is terrifying, and the space is also a kind of shock. Deceiving others is really too much. At this point, I had already seen two people in the air. These two middle-aged and strong people can easily tell their identities from their clothes. I noticed the person running in front of me when I came to Shenqing Heaven, and the strong people from 10 places were recorded in my mind. This green shirt is a middle-aged powerhouse, a powerhouse on the charts, and also a powerhouse in Beihai. A middle-aged and strong man behind his back, a turquoise shirt, a strong man in heaven and earth. After seeing the clothes and expressions of these two people, a faint smile appeared on my face. Drinking a light drink, the sound is like a dragon, and sound waves will collide with the sound waves that bombard it in the air. As true dragons and divine peaks, whether they are dragons or phoenixes, the pressure of sound waves is only their talent. Bang, in the air, a dull sound appeared, and my dragon song cancelled out the sound waves from the bombing in the air. At the same time, the sound of the dragon song directly reached the hands of the strong in heaven and earth. Heaven, earth, mountains, rivers, bells. This middle-aged man, a strong man in heaven and earth, did not believe that their sound waves were completely shattered by the sound waves of the martial arts spirit. On the contrary, the other party's sound waves bombarded him, causing great shock to their hearts, and a magical treasure appeared in front of them. I saw a copper bell, measuring meters high and 2 meters wide. The song of the dragon rang the bronze bell, emitting a terrifying and stuffy sound, and the air in the space immediately twisted. After 2 rounds of sound waves and wheels, it is obvious that the strong between heaven and earth will fall ahead of the sound waves. My body also flew up, suspended in the air, looking at the two people in the air. It's you, Feilu, Xiuqing, and Chenghao from the Heaven and Earth Society shouted when they saw my appearance. Feilu Xiuqing naturally got to know me, and seeing my personal appearance made her feel happy, but she didn't show it on her face. When she met me, at least she wouldn't be an enemy. Chenghaonan was naturally shocked when he saw me. You know, if I couldn't come into the heavenly God's city, the magical array would have shocked countless strong people. Now, he didn't expect to see me. On the side of Beifeng and Yunyao, seeing Feilu Xiuqing, his face remained unchanged, and his eyes were walking towards Chenghaonan, who was looking at heaven and earth. Of course this is the seat. Let's go first. I said softly, the expression on my face was plain, and when it reached its climax, I was about to dodge. This move left a girl stunned by the bright moon in the southern palace. She didn't understand why I had to leave. You know, Xiuqing in the north is the guardian of the north. Even if I left the house in the north last time, there were other reasons. The death I see now is irreparable, and I am indeed a bit confused. However, this woman followed me without hesitation. No matter what decision I made, they supported me because they were on my side. Hand in hand I'm leaving now, immediately making Feilu Xiuqing feel at a loss. With his power, heaven and earth would be very different from Chenghaonan. Otherwise, they wouldn't have run away like this, and they also received a precious material. Without my help, I couldn't escape. In addition, Baiyu and Yunyao are members of the Beihou tribe, but they don't want to help and haven't know what to do for a while. Chenghaonan saw that I was leaving with traces of murder on his face, but he didn't intend to do so now. Even though I am just a martial arts god, I am a terrible person and I can come here. No matter how strong his strength is, he dare not create more trouble at this critical moment. To avoid wasting time, it is not important for us and others to leave. Your Excellency, please help each other. After we kill Qinghaonan, we can assure you of one thing. Beiyu Xiuqing watched me go and quickly heard my voice. He knew it was useless to find these two sisters, because both sisters were listening to me, so he had to find me. Okay, remember what you just said. You do it first, we will find an opportunity. When I heard Bei Xiuqing's words, I was very satisfied, that's what he wanted. He is not a ruthless person, let alone the family of the two sisters. Even if it is dangerous, he will do so. He does this, just a word from the north. When the sound was transmitted, I flew up without delay, completely satisfied with the way it stayed. However, the god has already run away, and the divine elements in the body have reached their limits. The meaning of Jin Tao and the sword are gradually brewing in his body. With just a gun, it is earth-shattering destruction. The moon formula of the northern god, the boxing of the northern god. Just as I was 10 miles away from the two of them, the expression on Bei Yuxiu's face became serious. Finally, the eyes flickered with a tenacious spirit, and the whole body's true element ran, causing a sudden spatial shock. The moon formula of the Nordic god reached its extreme, only to see the moon pure white between heaven and earth, a faint moon scattered in the sky of the divine city, and the sky filled with mysterious killing intentions. In the moment of her kung fu, Bei Xiuqing tightly held her hand, revealing a mysterious and strange posture, followed by a terrifying boxing shadow that bombarded Qinghaonan. The sudden destructive attack, even Qinghaonan did not expect Beiho Ziyuqingxiu to carry out such a reckless attack. I dare not think too much now. I hit with one hand and slashed the huge long sword towards my fist. Between heaven and earth, the sword of destruction, the terrifying shadow of boxing, rushes straight into the air, like two dragons, the space constantly trembles and shatters. Master's sword, the kingdom of sword, at that moment, my strange flying shape disappeared, and when I reappeared, I returned to my original position. A cup of light wine immediately follows the path of the primordial spirit, and the meaning of the path of the golden treasure comes out. The sword spirit rises into the sky, and the true element of the Xingyuan god's movement almost tears the space into pieces. The golden way fills space with a sharp destructive essence, and the sword intent condenses into essence. I touched it with one hand, and my master's sword was already in my hand. Immediately, the sword symbolized the power of becoming a sword, forming endless sword threads, sword rays, sword spirit, and sword light. Beside me, a world of swords the size of a circle appeared, and my dominant sword swung uniquely. The kingdom of swords immediately bombarded Qinghaonan. Space, the realm of the sword, is engulfed by the kingdom of the sword, turning into a vacuum and emptiness. Rumble, the air, boxing shadows, and blades collide, destructive boxing gangs and blades stir up space, destructive energy tears through gaps, and the two destructive attacks are neck and neck. However, Qinghaonan did not anticipate the timid fear of a martial arts hero before leaving, but instead gave him a stunning blow when he returned on the way. This destructive attack has exceeded his view of the strong in the martial arts mirror. Such an incarnation cannot be achieved even in the realm of illusory gods. When he saw the realm of the land of destruction, his expression changed. The field of swords is just a domain of existence. At this moment, he and Bei Xiuqing were in a standoff, and any external force would cause him injury. Even though Beiyu Xiuqing's strength is inferior to his strength is not much different from the super strong on the list, let alone Beiyu Xiuqing's desperate attack. He can only do his best to attack. He didn't know I would attack him, but now he sees this and understands that these two people just joined forces. Faced with destructive attacks in the field of swordsmanship, he should not be allowed to think too much about this matter. There was an expression in his eyes as the long sword in his hand was moved away, ignoring the attack of the boxing shadow and cutting the blade towards my sword field. This action is so decisive, without hesitation. Because he knew that even if he left the shadow of Feilu Novel's boxing, he couldn't kill him, but the fencing field was too terrifying to underestimate. Attacking avatar that you don't understand is what martial arts fear the most. Therefore, I would rather let Feilu Novel bomb than be bombed by this sword. Bang! An astonishing explosion sounded, and the sword field and blades were bombarded. The sword field was trembling, frozen by the sword, and the shadow of boxing in the north was fiercely bombarded by Cheng Hao. Plush, blood spurted out from the mouth, and the heart trembled. The blade weakened, and the sword on the battlefield, with the power of devouring, took the opportunity to swallow the blade and quickly pressed it against Cheng Haonan. Fake sword light, destroy. Watching the blade being swallowed and the terrifying power of the sword falling, the injured Cheng Haonan's face looked shocked. The blood sacrifice came out, and the fine blood collided in the air. The hand of the long sword swung towards me at a very fast speed, unparalleled. Wow, rumble, the realm of swords has been broken, and the sword of destruction is cutting towards me. Suddenly, the space was divided into two halves. The speed is very fast, it seems to travel through time and space. Feilu Novel watched as Cheng Haonan was injured, feeling a little relaxed. She held a long gun in her hand, waving it as it shot straight into Cheng Haonan's southern journey, bombarding him with false shadows. I looked at two super powerhouses, and my expression changed. These guys, these treasures are all ancient artifacts. Although they are just the treasure of the next product, they are enough to reach the sky. The super strong are super strong, their power is extremely terrifying, and they are prepared for the terror of their power. Their methods are abnormal, and they cannot have any advantage at all. Watching the damaged blade be cut off, the blade creates a sense of fear and threat in one's heart. The expression on the face changed, and one hand reached out, causing the space to immediately tremble. A strange long sword appeared in front of him, slender and slender, with a strange light eroding his soul. At the same time, the gas of death emits a destructive aura, filling the entire space with the breath of death. Blade of death, death. My expression on the face became fierce, waving with one hand. The death beads in the body spin, and the destructive death gas enters the blade of death. The blade of death, an innate artifact, as the power of my cultivation, can only be reluctantly exerted with the death spirit of the pearl of death, and its power cannot even reach that of an innate artifact. Even so, it is not an excellent ancient cultural relic that can be compared with each other. Under the waves of the blade of death, a strange blade was cut off like a full moon machete, with speed like a flash of light. Under the flash, it had already been hit by a fake blade. Under the waves of the blade of death, a strange blade was cut off like a full moon machete, with speed like a flash of light. Click, in the air, two knives bombarded and the destructive force fiercely broke through the space, throwing out rows of debris. I was shaky, my body quickly retreating, and both the sword of death and the fake sword were deadlocked. For a while, I couldn't see any signs of victory or failure. Ah! But at this moment, Feilu Novel's artillery bombarded Cheng Haonan, and the long spear had pierced through his chest. I saw Cheng Haonan scream, his eyes showing despair and reluctance. Without the support of his master, the blade immediately disappeared and fell with a bombardment. The destruction of the sword of death directly turned Cheng Haonan into two halves. The lifeless gas constantly erodes into Haonan. Even the primordial spirit has been eroded. In the blink of an eye, Cheng Haonan lost any vitality, and even the dead could not die anymore. The entire change was only a few seconds, and the super-powerful pseudo-deity disappeared. The super characters on the list of wind and cloud have just fallen off. This may seem simple, but the entire process is extremely dangerous, and a small mistake will never happen again. Moreover, this is still a war between two strong players on the same list. Even so, planning a surprise attack is still very dangerous for me. If it weren't for the guns in the north, if it weren't for killing Cheng Hao, then it wouldn't be that simple. The collaboration between the two is extremely seamless, otherwise they would both be killed by Cheng Haonan. This is also the terror of my sword field and the blade of death. Excellent ancient artifacts surpass the power of ancient artifacts. The blade of death's sudden surprise attack caused Cheng Haonan to disappear into thin air. After killing Cheng Haonan, Feilu Novel still had a terrifying expression on her face. Cheng Haonan, a terrifying and powerful person, chased after him for a few days, but didn't expect to be killed in this. My heart is afraid of my methods. Although these two people joined forces to kill Cheng Haonan, he realized his power. Even if he tried his best, he would not harm him, and the road was still full of escape. If it weren't for my joint efforts, he would have run away and the real RMB would have been eliminated in the end. Feilu Novel Network has seen his ancestors. Yao has seen her ancestors. At this time, Feilu Novel and Yunyao's sisters went forward to salute Feilu Novel, who looked very smart. Nangong Mingyue and Xiao Bai are heading north towards Ho Xiuqing. No matter what happens, Hideyoshi Kitahawa is always a member of Kitahades. He must face the North Mahist school in Yunyao, and the North German school has no resentment towards him. Even if the weather in Baitian gets colder with him, it's because of beaming snow in him, and this cannot be attributed to Beihai. Standing in the northern sky and thinking about it, the sky points in the north are also good, not angry, and have given me face. At that time, it was also difficult to become a person in the northern sky. On the one hand, it was the son of Jian Ting, on the other hand, it was Shui and Yunyao from the north, and on the other hand, my identity as a Shundan master on the divine martial continent. Now encountering the powerful North Hades, they have joined forces to eliminate the enemy and are also temporary allies. I have met your excellency Baiming. I took a step forward and greeted Beiho Xiuqing's fist. The current situation is indeed a bit awkward. If it were in normal times, he could completely ignore Xiuqing in the north, and Xiuqing in the north went to see him. After all, I helped him solve the threat in front of him. But now, facing these two sisters, he had to say hello, but in order to say hello, he did not grovel or hold high, as if he were greeting ordinary people. Thank you, Your Excellency. I didn't expect Your Excellency to reach this point. Feilu Novel didn't put on any airs either. He also heard that I went to Qingzi, but left as soon as I arrived. There seems to be some unpleasantness between them, which confuses the core figures above Beihai. I am a holy Dan master from the divine martial continent, with power no less than 10 suns, and even more than 10 suns facing the sky. Beihai also knows about the situation between me and Yunyao. This is reasonable, it won't offend me, but I didn't expect it to make me walk like this. Even Shui and Yunyao from the north left them. It wasn't until the end that I learned about the snow in the north, but it was really difficult to deal with. On the one hand, it's the divine sword hall. On the other hand, although I seem to be just a person, no one dares to really provoke me when it comes to the sky and Dan Dao, even if I'm not a personal Dan Stone association. After all, the Danture Association did not say that I am from the Danture Association, nor did I say that I am not from the Danture Association. This situation makes the people of Shinwu continent feel uncertain. It's like an invisible protection behind me, making people hesitant to explore. When the core figures of North Hades found out about me and North Sea Snow, they all felt embarrassed. Finally, they postponed the matter and saw how the relevant parties would handle the issue. Whether it's Jinzi's victory or mine, Beihai has no impact. If two evil skies make things bigger, it's also something from above. Just look at the struggle between superpowers, and superpowers won't fight for a disciple. I'm about to leave, he has nothing to blame. After all, there is no intersection between the two, and there is no need to take the risk of dealing with a terrifying pseudo-kingdom. Although I finally agreed to a condition, I helped him, and these two things are just normal transactions in mainland China. At this moment, Baiming Shui and Yunyao walked up to greet each other and breathed a sigh of relief. When I greet him first, he is not the kind of person who doesn't know what to do, nor is he the kind of person who doesn't know what he is interested in. You're welcome, sir. Your Excellency is the elder of Sister Bai Shui and Sister Yao. Also, we have a transaction between us, you're welcome. I smiled and said with a faint smile on my face. A strong person has strong dignity and personality, and he and I are also strong. Even in the face of a pseudo-divine environment, he is strong and has his own personality. In a world where the strong are respected, power is the hard truth. If you promise you something, you won't miss it. Two little girls have very good eyes. But if this is not good for these two little girls in our family, no matter how good you are, you won't easily let you go. Beiyu Shuqing looked at the snow and Yunyao in the north with a friendly expression on her face. They are all 100 years old, and for their young generation, there is a kind of love in their hearts, and these two lovely young generations, or the proud sons of this family, are naturally happy to see their young generation have good luck. Although he looked at me with his eyes and said seriously, "It's difficult for family members to do anything about the snow and the divine sword pavilion at home. Now that I see my strength, my spirit and personality, I am immediately satisfied with it. It's much better than that swordsman. Although a bit arrogant, this arrogance is a type of personality. Other things cannot be guaranteed, but for Sister Shui and Sister Yao, they will still receive sincere treatment. If someone dares to bully them, he will definitely destroy the divine martial continent." In my faint smile, with a serious expression. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Thank you for the support of 11,054 flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Moreover, the body involuntarily emitted a terrifying momentum, which carried confidence and gave an indisputable oath, and no one dared to doubt his words. Hearing my words, the sisters of Bai Meishue and Yun Yao Yao are sweet in their hearts. They all know my personality and my love for them. Now it sounds like even if you die now, you won't regret it. Women, when individuals are so spoiled and distressed in their lives, there is nothing to be satisfied with. You know your situation, what are your plans? Beiyu nodded in satisfaction, this is the true man. Then I changed the topic, even if he wasn't me, he didn't know about my business and understood my situation. In the state of cultivating martial arts, even if he wants to survive in front of these demons, he cannot believe that now he has promised me a condition that he will definitely help me. Even if it falls, it is still obvious. Step, as long as you can help control one of them, will be finished. My face looks calm, but with a hint of confidence. This kind of confidence is the power of confidence. Without true power, there would be no such confidence. When Bai Shuqing heard what I said, he didn't say much. As long as he controls an individual, he can control them. As long as there is no dispute of interest, when he controls an individual, after he takes one of them away, and after I resolve this matter, he can leave. Then, I flew in front of me with Nangong Mingyue and the others. After taking away Qing Haonan's treasures in storage bag, she flew away behind me. That team flew very fast, heading in a prohibited direction. Along the way, there are dragons and pigs, and if there are enemies, they will know that there is no danger along the way. Beiyu Shuqing also talked about him and Cheng Hao. It turned out that many strong people were searching for treasures outside. They can't even go in and ban them. They can only search for treasures outside. Outside, many precious medicinal herbs and materials were discovered, causing many strong people to fight and also falling a few times. He was pursued after obtaining equally precious materials. Fortunately, he met me, otherwise he would have been killed. More importantly, the formation here prohibits terror, and even the strong members of the puppet kingdom have been killed. Beiyu Shuqing personally witnessed the downfall of a hypocritical and powerful person, among whom one was prohibited from being killed. Even his big brother was injured, and the other strong people dispersed. As for the other strong people, they are unknown. After all, the strong ones who come here are separate. After the day, I waited for someone to come to the penalty area. When I saw a forbidden position, I was certain because the forbidden position and the array path were the same, which means that the array path on the animal skin is not wrong, it is the divine city group of this day. During this period, people will have a lot of understanding of arrays and may be a bit certain that they will be prohibited from entering them. Rumble, rumble, when several people were not far from the ban, their expressions changed. Because there are several strong individuals constantly bombing the ban in front of it, hoping to break it. When he found the other party, they had already found them and it was impossible for them to leave now. Originally, with the help of the dragon pig, knowledge within 1,000 miles could not escape its divine feeling, but now it has not been discovered, even the breath of the strong here cannot be found. Not only the dragon and pig, but also him and me, the girl Nangong Mingyue, couldn't find any movement here. Moreover, I also know that the dragon pig knows the treasure here and cannot be found when there is no time. If there is a ban, the dragon pig cannot be found. Similarly, although the dragon pig can perceive the power of the gods and breath, it can only feel the time when the gods and breath are within 1,000 miles, and its induction cannot be through prohibition, so naturally it cannot find the forbidden interior. It seems that Long Zhu is unpredictable in the future. What he most wants is some treasures, be wary of powerful things, or things he can only see with his own eyes that are reassuring and cannot be completely certain of. He will not do them. When they found each other, the other had already found them, deliberately waiting for them to come here and die. Oh, woe! A false god, strong, flickering, enveloping me. A terrifying pressure, the space continues to be turbulent and uneasy. For a while, I was under the pressure of fear, watching the strength of a false god. Grandpa's son Tianjiao, Gongsun Nanyun, Boda Alliance Wang Lindong, Xiaotian Alliance Qing Yushui. I looked at a powerful pseudo-god, and the expression on my face was constantly changing. Faced with a super-strong pseudo-god, there is indeed a headache problem, and more importantly, at this critical moment, in a crucial place, if another strong person comes, they will die. Therefore, we must find a way to kill individuals and cut off their roots. But the other party is a super-evil fake god, with 10 families and 10 superpowers, each of which can easily defeat his existence. Strong enemy person make a phone call. Bombardment in the air, the destructive force continues to crush my individual, as if crushing my people to ashes. The false gods are extremely evil, all strong people at the top of the false kingdom, and the true elemental bodies are constantly erupting. It is only then that this magnificent pressure and true elemental body have made Nangong Mingyue face tremendous changes. Faced with the pressure of destruction, I also feel a sense of fear. Facing a strong pseudo-god, he wouldn't be so afraid at all, but when facing the top 10 and the top 10 strong, his confidence in his heart is compromised. Now there is a super strong person who can easily overcome his presence in a fierce attack. Looking at these strong people, Bing Xin rushed forward, her expression gradually calmed down, and her heart began to calculate. Even if you are not a match for these strong opponents, you will not be caught. I finally fell into our hands. Have you ever thought of such a day? Gongsun Tianjiao's eyes showed anger and she looked at me coldly. Last time, I made the capital of Gongsun miserable enough, and finally escaped safely. Dozens of false gods were killed, and the blue light tower disappeared. Dozens of false gods who were hunted have also returned, and the Gongsun family has become a laughing stock on the Shenwu continent. The Gongsun and Duanmu families, I want to give me ashes, but no matter how many fake gods are killed, I can't find super powerful gods. Now when I enter the city, I personally deliver it to the door, but of course, I cannot let go of it. Where's Xiao Shenmen? I looked at the people of the Roaring Alliance, they had no complaints against them. The situation at that time was obviously to deal with him, but he didn't want to make too many enemies now. If these people left, he would think nothing had happened. He doesn't care what Gongsun Tianjiao says at all, because this hostile situation cannot be changed. Now it depends on the decision of the Roaring League. If the Oda League really wants to fight him, even if he pays a big price, he will still eliminate the people of the Oda League. Because his least favorite is accomplice. I would rather give up the enemy than let go of the accomplices, especially those who fell into the rocks. When he spoke, the expression on his face was very serious, and the momentum on his body slowly expanded. The actions of the Genshin Impact and the terrifying eruption of the Genshin Impact. The path means movement, and space is filled with the destruction of the meaning of the path. The emergence of the meaning of the path, the rotation behind heaven and earth, and I have integrated into the entire world. This world is under his control. Me, don't you understand? In the sky of the divine city, we are allies of Xiao Tianliang. Gongsun Tianjiao was stunned, with a hint of surprise on her face. I didn't expect to shake their alliance and destroy the current siege with words at this moment. When he didn't wait for Xiao Tianliang to speak, he said it first. If the Roaring Alliance hesitates, it will let me know that their alliance is not invincible. Although I don't take me seriously, my reputation here and many strong members of the Gongsun family have fallen into my hands. No matter what the meaning is, kill me first. Shut up, when we talk, you shut up. If you want to die, you don't need to rush for a while. My fierce eyes suddenly looked over with a loud bang. The terrifying voice explodes in the supreme majesty between heaven and earth with a powerful momentum. At the same time, my majesty unfolded, and the majesty of a false god withstood for a period of time. The powerful pressure of majesty continued to squeeze each other in the air, and the trembling of the Arabian Nights mourned in the face of this terrible pressure. Damn it, Gongsun Tianjiao was full of anger. His own grandson family was a super genius, with a peak of pseudo-divine realm. He was insulted by such an insulting martial arts spirit, and his whole body was angry. The power of destruction washed away me, as if to kill me with terrifying pressure to eliminate my hatred. But it's not easy for me to mess up. Since we meet, both sides won't die endlessly, so there won't be any manners. The power of heaven and earth, the power of Phoenix, I took a sip and the pressure came out. Stepping into the void with one foot, the space was immediately divided into fragments, and a terrifying force erupted between heaven and earth. At the same time, the power of the Phoenix also rose to the sky at this moment, saying that nothing could compare to the false realm of God, but for Wei's pressure, he never lost anyone. The power of the Kamikaze is a powerful pressure on the ancient Kamikaze family, accompanied by the ancient tyranny and vicissitudes of life. The destructive pressure bombarded and crushed the other side. Rumble, with the amazing explosion, two huge pressures were pressed up, the space burst, and a powerful hypocrite retreated behind them. The expression on their faces also changed. I never thought that in the field of martial arts, the authority of a powerful person would be as terrifying as that of a powerful person. At the peak of the pseudo-kingdom, facing those super strong men and grandchildren, they also repelled them, and even they felt a sense of fear. My figure is also very sturdy and falls to the ground. The pinnacle of the pseudo-kingdom, the great genius of the Gongsun family, is truly terrifying in power. Even if the pseudo-kingdom is strong in the middle, it cannot be said that he is stronger than his granddaughter. The ability to repel false gods has disappeared from the sky. Under the pressure of collision with Wei, Nangong Mingyue and others have also retired. Although they have my protection, when I came down, I was also suppressed. However, this woman knows that my authority has never encountered an enemy, and it is impossible to defeat me. Oda Alliance, I'll give you a second to think about it. I exclaimed, the momentum of the entire human race had reached its peak. At this moment, he was like an invincible god of war, domineering and looking coldly at the two powerful pseudo-gods in the field of the Oda Alliance. In his tone of speech, there was no resistance, whether it was becoming an enemy or retreating. Think about it. The ignorant generation, upon hearing my words, Zheng Yushuang immediately became angry, and her entire body's authenticity reached its extreme. Now, I am just a young god of Wu. If I grow up in the future, I will become a threat to the Oda League. Furthermore, Since they have already formed an alliance with the Gongsun family, they naturally will not terminate their contract with the Gongsun family for the sake of the young martial arts gods. This kind of thing, even if it's a fool, won't break the alliance, and I have countless treasures. Faced with such an opportunity, I definitely won't miss it. If you miss today and want to fight alone with me in the future, you won't have many opportunities. Since that's the case, you all have to stay today. I know this result for a long time, but he still wants to part ways. Encountering such a super strong person, in the sky, as long as there is hope, he will not let go. It is common sense for the other party to cooperate against him. I have a strange smile on my face, which gives Gongsun Tianjiao an illusion in her eyes that I have misread. At this moment, I can still smile. Is there any killer who can't do it? However, this idea was immediately overturned, as the god of martial arts is the strongest in the world. No matter how good it is impossible to have a talented opponent in the top 10 families. For a period of time, a false god will run true elements of terror, and the pressure of power will continue to crush my personality. Brother Cheng, Brother Wang, kill him and we will divide his treasure equally. They are individuals, and we are enough to separate. Gongsun Nanyun had an evil smile on his face and his eyes were fixed on the Mingyue person in the southern palace. As he spoke, a long blood knife appeared in his hand, with a destructive odor that constantly eroded the air. Faced with the terrifying force, the space was also distorted. Senior Brother Nanyun is such a master. Qing Yushuang laughed heartily, and his eyes were also swept over Nangong Mingyue and others. Although this is not good for women, Nangong Mingyue and others are so tempting that men in the world are not crazy about it. Very good, the smile on my face is even richer, but within this brilliant smile, there is a wealth of trump cards. An opportunity to kill God knows a move, the dragon ring has been opened. A slight fluctuation in the subspace led to the appearance of a character in the air, and a strong pseudo-divine pressure emerged in the raging air. This character appeared, leaving Gongsun Tianjiao and others stunned. They didn't expect this place to appear in the thin air, a pseudo-divine environment. It's really strange. Beiyu is beautiful and green. This pseudo-god shouted. Naturally it was not easy to stir up superpower in the sky of the 10 major families. It's a bit puzzling to see at this moment. That's great, that's how you are. I never thought about it. I really don't think Roaring Heavenly Dream and the Gongsun family can unite to deal with this martial arts state. This is a super powerhouse of the Shao Tianmeng and Gongsun families, and his father has also seen him. After Beiyu appeared, he saw the strength of the beginning of the gods and cried for a while, but he did not show it, but rather remained calm and calm. In his speech, he immediately satirized a false god. So, Beiyu Xiuqing, do you also want to come in? Gongsun Tianjiao looked at Beiyu Xiuqing, and God looked around but couldn't find any other strong people. Her heart suddenly settled down. If Beiyu Xiuqing dares to intervene, he will work together to solve the problem, which is also a good opportunity to weaken the opponent. When speaking, his face was filled with contempt, a false realm, and he was not afraid at all. At the same time, Qing Yushuang and Wang Lindong also appeared murdered on their faces. In the air, the atmosphere is chilling, and war is imminent. If a strong person is strong, the Emperor of the East will be invincible. What do you think? Bai Yuxiu's hand touched empty, and a beam of light appeared in her hand. Only a piece of ancient artifacts from the heavenly dynasty appeared in hand, emitting the powerful pressure of ancient artifacts. This action, without any explanation, is obviously rhythmic. Seeing the appearance of Beiyu Xiuqing, Gong Suntianjiao and others were greatly surprised. A false mentality dares to do so to them, it is just seeking death. I want to introduce you to an acquaintance. I believe you really like it. I looked at the appearance of a fake god, with the same expression on my face and a faint opening. The voice fell without a pause, and God was moved. The dragon ring opened and there was a slight fluctuation in space. Only by seeing a figure in the air once again erupted with terrifying pressure, and the power of the false gods was strong. The Eastern Emperor is invincible. The Eastern Emperor is invincible. The powerful East Emperor is invincible. Why are you? The Eastern Emperor is invincible. When I saw the appearance of the strong in the air, my son's family and the strong in the illusory kingdom were both frightened and screamed. The expression on his face was constantly changing, as if he had seen a ghost. In this place, the top 10 sons all flew into the sky, and the strong ones were also very scary on the list of wind and clouds. The only reason is that I have raised it to the lowest level, but I never thought there would be an invincible Eastern Emperor by my side. More importantly, the Eastern Emperor is invincible. Heaven did not enter the divine city because there was no quota, and the Eastern Emperor did not know why he withdrew. The fact that the Eastern Emperor Invincible did not enter the divine city made countless super evils feel relaxed for a while. He is invincible in front of the Eastern Emperor, and even his 10 eldest sons dare not easily provoke him. The strong ones in the wind and cloud list have been scanned in the wind and cloud list. But the most unexpected thing appeared before them. They don't know how the East Emperor came here, and if they don't feel the invincibility of the East Emperor, they can't believe that he is invincible. Even Feilu Novel was startled. 10 people came in, and they all knew someone had come in, which means no king is invincible. Now there is an invincible Eastern Emperor around me, who is afraid of such strange things. Great, just remember your father. If your father is not here, you will have a very happy time. In the air, a middle-aged man dressed in green clothes exuded a domineering aura of a car, and he was as domineering as a god of war. There is a faint majesty between words, a strong internal majesty. Zhang Qiangfeng's clouds and clouds make the Eastern Emperor invincible in battle. Yes, the Eastern Emperor is invincible. No one knows why the Eastern Emperor is invincible here and still standing next to me. In this matter, I am the only one who knows that the invincible identity of the Eastern Emperor has been revoked and entered the heavenly god city. After hearing this news, the king was furious, but he dared not face what the envoy had said. Because this envoy represents heaven, fairyland, and holy land, these forces that fight against the sky cannot be provoked. I found that the Eastern Emperor was invincible and gave him the opportunity to enter the divine city heaven, allowing him to endlessly use elixirs and shamelessly erase the genius of the 10 schools and 10 powers. Seeing the huge changes in my hands, the Eastern Emperor was greatly surprised. He also knows my identity as the divine martial continent Shundan master, as well as my scattered cultivation and my rebellious sky, which he admires. He didn't say anything, just agreed to me. Sure enough, seeing my methods and Dan Yao, I was amazed. This is the true genius evil. 10 families, 10 forces, 10 sons are all garbage. Heroes cherish each other, and I also admire the invincibility of the Eastern Emperor. With this scattered repair, we have achieved this kind of adversity. The communication between the two in martial arts has made progress, but most of the time, I still tell the Eastern Emperor that some supernatural powers and insights are invincible in the sky. Invincible, let's give it a try. I smiled and said, looking at the invincible Emperor of the East. The Eastern Emperor is invincible and has been practicing the dragon ring. Even Northern Marquis Xiuqing did not see the Eastern Emperor invincible. He parted ways with Feilu Novel and Dongdi, and the two of them came out when the divine dragon commandment was necessary, playing a certain role in turning failure into victory. Yes, the Emperor's invincible face showed an excited expression, and Jinyuan's whole body burst out, looking at Wang Lindong. Suddenly, the space seemed to solidify. The appearance of the Eastern Emperor Invincible has covered up several false deities, and now the Eastern Emperor Invincible is still with me. The combination of the two most terrifying evil is simply terrifying. Mr. Biming, choose one too. I'll leave the rest to you. I smiled and looked north. The control of a country by the Eastern Emperor and the Northern Shuqing was invincible. In this way, they will relax. Yes, be careful yourself. Feilu Shuqing's heart was trembling with fear, and the Eastern Emperor dealt invincibly against him. That was no problem, he had no problem. But even so, there are still two. Look at my eyes. Do you have to deal with two people? This is too bad for people to believe. The invincible Emperor of the East was also stunned, but he didn't care so much, and the strange shape disappeared. When he reappeared, he had already appeared next to Wang Lindong, and the destruction and hegemonic attacks had already emerged. The war began, and the two of them separated, far above the void. Feilu Shuqing was also driven away by Qingyu's double bombing. At this time, there should be no interference, otherwise they would be killed. Gongsun Tianjiao, I'll go see your son's house. I saw two false gods of Xiaoshenmen being stopped by Dongdi and Baixiu Qing, with a faint smile on their faces. He was light in the wind, his eyes fixed on Gongsun Tianjiao. Oh, whoa. Nangong Mingyue, a girl, hurriedly walked away, leaving me a huge open space. In that case, it won't drag me down. See how you died today. I killed a disciple of the Gongsun family, and today I will pay for your life. Gongsun Nanyun and Gongsun Tianjiao exchanged glances, and his true energy exploded. His figure bombarded me. In the blink of an eye, those two people walked towards me, and a terrifying pressure hit me, as if they were going to crush me to ashes. How much did you win? This place has never been satisfactory. I felt the pressure of fear, and my face changed. At the beginning of the pseudo-divine kingdom, the top 10 families were all super geniuses. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Thank you for the support of Tengteng 100 Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the beginning of the pseudo-divine kingdom, the 10 major families were all super geniuses, and their power was terrifying. Any of them can exist on the basis of right. Now, compared to facing me alone, I feel the pressure of fear and destruction, and dare not be careless at all. The sound fell, and the body rolled back and forth on the shoulders, lying on the ground. Mimi the animal roared and stood on the ground. This roar surprised Gongsun Tianjiao and Gongsun Nanyun, who didn't expect the little pet to make such a terrifying sound. In the midst of confusion, the original size of Tu Bao's spirit changed to 2 meters. The whole body exudes a mysterious aura, which fills the space. At the same time, the spirit of the beast emitted a halo, strange sounds sounded, and waves appeared in the space. Only 10 terrifying celestial beasts appeared in the air, and when they appeared, they transformed into humanoid animals. In the early days of power, 10 heavenly beasts became 10 false gods. 10 strong people flew straight to Gongsun Nanyun without hesitation. The space continues to tear and tremble, originally only a few with strong pseudo-divinity, but now it has become a dozen or so. 10 heavenly beasts turned into 10 false gods, which left everyone stunned and showed a terrifying expression on their faces. What I saw today is completely unimaginable. Everything makes people feel scared and strange. The appearance of the Eastern Emperor was invincible, and now this monster strangely summoned 10 strong people in the early days of the pseudo-divine world. This kind of thing is still something that has happened before, completely beyond the scope of human imagination. For a period of time, even the Eastern Emperor was invincible, and the others stopped, his eyes filled with fear. What I mean is that it's too scary. Rumble, rumble, I, the holy master of your continent, use pets to deal with me. Without waiting for Gongsun Nanyun to be horrified, the powerful people of the world of false gods have made every effort to attack them. These pseudo-god powerhouses come from the animal form of heaven, and their attacks are completely hand-in-hand combat, deadly attacks. 10 identical pseudo-god powerhouses fight against early pseudo-god powerhouses, and even the top geniuses of Gongsun faced with these deadly attacks, they constantly retreat. When he roared, he resisted the attacks of 10 hypothetical monsters. Ignorance, this is treating one's body in one's own way. If you fight alone, we will accompany you. If you fight in groups, we will definitely complete your mission. In this world, no matter how you come, you can only be held down by this seat. I said loudly. From then on, between the flashes of my figure, I had already flown into the air. Wu Xuantian's sword came out and appeared in the air, causing a terrifying pressure to erupt. With one hand waving, the long sword immediately cut out a terrifying blade, piercing through the gap and pointing straight towards the sky where the grandfather and granddaughter were far apart. Sword, sword. Seeing that I have already done so, Beiyu Xiuqing and Dongdi are invincible and have done their best to attack. This group has begun, and the most powerful war of destruction has erupted in the divine city. I threw my sword and pierced through the void, severely chopping it down. The target was the Gong Sun family, who had a strong pseudo-divine nature and a peak of pseudo-divine nature. Gong Sun Tianjiao, the sound of gunfire is the collapse of the void, killing the sky in a sword battle. Immediately, Jian Meng headed straight towards Duke Sun Tianjiao with a black hole and bombarded him down. Looking at my sword and the black hole brought by destruction, Gong Sun Tianjiao's face underwent a huge change. When I'm at home, I always hear how good I am, but in his opinion, no matter how good martial arts are, it's just that. Now, after seeing my methods with my own eyes, there are also traces of fear in my heart. The sword of destruction came with the bombardment of a black hole, shocked and hesitant, holding one hand in front of a mysterious rune. When the rune appeared, space trembled with fear. Dawn is flashing with thunder. Amidst the roar, there was a destructive arc in the space between them, forming a strange aperture. In an instant, the aperture aimed straight at my sword. Rumble, sound explosion, lightning halo and sword black hole bombarded, immediately unleashing a terrifying explosion. Space also trembled, the black hole in front of the sword disappeared, and the power of the sword disappeared in front of Sun Tianjiao. The thunder circle disappeared, but the remaining sword power appeared in front of Gong Sun Tianjiao, and a strange aura turned the sword into nothingness. When I saw this situation, I was shocked. It's hard for me to see the super hypocrisy of the top 10 families. Destroy the sky, kill the gods. Faced with my attack, Gong Sun Tianjiao easily resisted and gained the upper hand. After the aperture turned the sword into nothingness, the gods began to move, and a flash of light flickered as a foot-long bully sword appeared in his hand. Immediately, terrifying pressure ravaged the air. Excellent ancient cultural relics. Destroy the sky and kill the gods. Gong Sun's super weapon. I didn't expect such a weapon to be brought into the sky of the divine city. It seems that the divine city of the Gong Sun family is not small on this day, otherwise even such ancient artifacts would have been taken away. I was shocked to feel the pressure of the destruction of ancient cultural relics. I used to have an advantage through treasure, but I didn't expect the best ancient artifacts to appear at the early peak of the pseudo-immortal world, which is not because his advantage will be lost. I saw Gong Sun Tianjiao looking coldly at his face, with a pair of cruel eyes, waving with one hand and chopping the destruction of the sky in his hand towards me. Suddenly, a beam of destructive light appeared in space. The light scattered like moonlight, but wherever it passed, everything turned into nothingness. The power of this ancient cultural relic is shocking. Wind and thunder kill the gods. I was shocked to see the deity beheaded and beheaded. This is a disaster for him, as he showcased the best ancient artifacts at the beginning of his time in the pseudo-Shenzhou. At this moment, I no longer dared to hesitate, and a faint expression appeared on my face. A crazy sense of war surged out. Inside, the true horror element reaches its extreme. God is moving, and a flow of light appears in his hands. The wind and thunder god slaying cut is the wind and thunder god slaying cut. When I saw the other party using such a terrifying treasure, I dared not use any other weapons. If I use the same level of treasure, I will die. The opponent's domineering god has been chopped down, making it the best ancient artifact. Even if they use the divine weapon Xiantian sword, they have no confidence and only proceed with the innate artifact of the next product. Inferior innate artifacts, compared to absolute antiques, are also more powerful than ancient artifacts, and are found to be overused when playing with them. Under the influence of natural artifacts such as wind and lightning, all the gods were driven away and killed, causing terrifying pressure to continuously roll through the space. Even Gongsun Tianjiao was constantly crushed by the powerful pressure. Feeling the pressure of the innate artifact, the whole person's face underwent a huge change, but at this moment it was out of reach. I watched as I stopped the terrifying wind and thunder. The wind and thunder split God into clusters, destroying thousands of meters of light that condensed together. The light was destroyed by the sound of the wind and thunder. You know the wind and lightning, but millions of miles of storms and thunder gather in the central blue ocean, moving and destroying the sky and earth. Light, amidst the power of the wind and the thunder of destruction, fires at the hegemon. At this moment, the strong members of the other regiments were all stunned by the two destroyed lights in the air, and everyone stopped to watch the war between me and my great-grandson. The East Emperor is invincible, while the North is beautiful. His expression constantly changes, only knowing my strength and fear, but I never expected to be so strong that even such a terrifying treasure would not be utilized. Rumble, the two attacks that destroyed the sky and the earth finally bombed each other. On the zenith of the divine city, a destructive aura erupted, the light of wind and thunder, which would destroy the gods in the blink of an eye. The unparalleled power of wind and thunder, destruction and devouring, headed straight for the bombardment of the sun and sky. If this bombardment were indiscriminate, not to mention the early peak of the pseudo-divine kingdom, even the powerful pseudo-divine kingdom would dissipate completely. Bang! Gongsun Tianjiao's whole body was also stunned, completely unaware that I would make the treasure so terrifying, even the quality of ancient artifacts could not resist at all. Is this the best ancient cultural relic? At the same time, in my heart, the expression on my face changed greatly, and for a period of time, I didn't know what method to use to resist it. The dull sound, accompanied by the sound of wind and thunder, bombarded Gongsun Tianjiao with 100-mile storm and lightning, and Gongsun Tianjiao disappeared in the light. This result made the Eastern Emperor invincible, the Northern Shuqing, as well as Wang Donglin and Qing Yushuang, astonishing. On the one hand, Gongsun Nanyun was attacked by 10 wild beasts, with injuries and scars on his body, and he did not even notice the situation of Gongsun Tianjiao. The power of the wilderness, the divine light fist, in the distance, the invincible face of the Eastern Emperor changed, and I didn't expect it to be so terrifying. My power stirred up the invincible war of the Eastern Emperor. He didn't want to lose to me, and his whole body was at its extreme. The power between heaven and earth twisted, and the space was constantly torn apart. In the moment when Kung Fu flashed by, the East Emperor was invincibly struck by a huge light fist. Aegis, earth defense, when he felt the invincible power of the Eastern Emperor, Wang Donglin was stunned, but he couldn't come. His eyes flickered with perseverance, and a huge black shield appeared in front of him, unleashing the terrifying power of the earth. Suddenly, a huge and powerful defense appeared in front of him, blocking his entire body. Rumble, click, ah. Ah. The destroyed divine light fist fiercely bombarded the shield, and mysterious light and shadow erupted on the shield. However, facing the hegemonic power of the divine light fist, any defense is futile. The shield was broken, and the destroyed divine light fist was heavily bombed by Wang Donglin. Wang Donglin's body swayed like a broken kite, his body swayed like a broken kite, his body had no strength, and his meridians were also broken. Even though Wang Donglin screamed at the same time, there was a loud shout in the air. The wind and thunder emitted a scream, the light disappeared, and the sun appeared in the air, but the whole person's clothes were shattered, and their body fell to the ground. However, this is much better than Wang Donglin, at least not as injured as Wang Donglin. It's really shocking to see this. It is unimaginable to achieve this step in the face of such a terrifying attack. The strong members of the Gongsun family are truly powerful and unparalleled. My heart was also shocked. I didn't expect my innate artifact to hit, but I couldn't kill Gongsun Tianjiao, and even the injury wasn't very serious. At the beginning of the pseudo-divine kingdom, the super genius of the Gongsun family walked into the sky. Death is here. I saw this without hesitation. Seizing some opportunities is not easy, of course, we cannot miss them for nothing. This grandson Tianjiao's heart has become afraid. Surviving in front of your innate artifact is terrifying. If you don't fight it to death now, the opponent will definitely kill him. He naturally knew that although the power of wind and lightning to destroy the gods was terrifying, the ancient artifacts attacking the opponent were hitting each other, otherwise Gongsun Tianjiao would also be injured. In addition, when the light hit Gongsun Tianjiao, a mysterious halo appeared on his body, saving Gongsun Tianjiao from danger. The disciples of the super family, with their treasures held high in the sky, may not only be unjustified when using some terrible killing weapon. With one hand outstretched, the death ball inside the body spun, and a sense of fear immediately emanated. The light mass in hand continues to rotate, and the light mass is entirely formed by the gas of death. The space between heaven and earth is also eroded by the gas of death, destroying and eroding the death light mass of the heart, reaching the size of a bowl in the blink of an eye. The expression on my face is too cold, there is no emotional fluctuation. The whole person felt like a god of death, trembling inexplicably. The sound of the wind has moved the light of death from my hand. The death light group quickly bombarded Sun Tianjiao in the direction, forming a passage in the space. Space is torn apart and trembling, and star clusters are like destroyed stars crashing away. No shield. Everyone is shocked by death. Gongsun Tianjiao was attacked by my wind and lightning, killing God and almost dispersing. Fortunately, there is a way to save lives that can resist the blow of death, but it can only be used once. It can resist any blow from the strong in the middle of the pseudo-kingdom, and even perfect ancient artifacts cannot kill him. While feeling heartbroken and wasteful, my heart trembles with fear. Even a perfect artifact cannot harm him, but he has been hurt by a powerful person in the martial arts field. I thought I would take this treasure after death, but suddenly, I felt the threat of destruction rising from the bottom of my heart, and my eyes were frightened. At this moment, I no longer dared to hesitate. The Gongsun family prohibited going out, and immediately the space continued to distort. Death confrontation. The space is constantly twisted, and the mysterious atmosphere continues to gather around Gongsun Tianjiao. Gongsun Tianjiao's face was pale, her eyes were strange, with fear and despair, malice and cruelty. For a moment, a mysterious gloom erupted in the void. After a gloomy voice appeared, Gongsun Tianjiao on Shouyuan quickly lost, but a strange lampshade appeared in front of him, blocking him tightly. Bang! At the same time as the appearance of the light shield, the death light group was heavily bombarded by the light shield. Suddenly, a destructive halo erupted and opened up in space. Wherever the halo of destruction passes, everything becomes meaningless. I don't know if it's the power of a shield or the power of the light of death, but that's not important. Nangong Mingyue and others have already carried out defense against terror. The invincible expression of the Eastern Emperor was also shocked. He dared not underestimate it and would step forward, fully focused on resisting the aura of terror. Beiyu Xiuqing and Chenggyuzhuang are also like this, only Gongsun Nanyun has no chance. Because facing the attack of 10 wild beasts, he can no longer support it. Even the genius of the Gongsun family, this super-strong person, faced 10 deadly beasts during the peak period of the early pseudo-divine kingdom, had to suffer losses. Moreover, as long as one of the 10 beasts falls, he will be attacked by suicide. When the beast disappears that day, the spirit and earth beasts call another heavenly beast. As a result, the wild beast fell to the ground, but was subjected to several suicide attacks. However, there are still 10 wild beasts around them. Wherever the halo passes, the cut becomes a vacuum. 10 heavenly beasts disappeared, only 2 remained in their original place. However, Gongsun Nanyun has disappeared, completely turning his halo into ashes, completely disappearing between heaven and earth. In front of the spiritual treasures of the earth, only the celestial beast stands in front of it, resisting the remnants of the halo. The Eastern Emperor was invincible in battle, while Beiyu Xiuqing and Qing Yuzhuang were shaken by the halo. Wang Donglin is lying on the ground, sweeping through the halo, falling. Rumble, the poisonous gas of death, constantly devouring the fairy gas in the air, died and fell into a stalemate with the Aegis. The band Aegis is the last band skill of the Gongsun family and also the last skill to save his life. Even if he doesn't die, he will have to pay a heavy price, which is to lose 100 years of life element, so that he will never save any money. I reached out my hand in the air with one hand, and the mysterious spirit of death continued to hold the light of death. The death beads on the body kept flowing, and for a while, these two beads froze in the air. Everyone was shocked by the battle between these two people. The battle between the two is not very fast, but each action is a supernatural power against the sky, and each action can easily defeat the early strength of any pseudo-deity. Each move is extremely dangerous, but so far, the two have not separated the winner, perhaps because one of them used a terrifying killer to reverse the game. But this is even more shocking for me. In the god of Kung Fu in the sky, a young man controls his powers and treasures, which contradicts the sky. The terrifying means and power have subjected the super-powerful members of the Gongsun family to such suppression. I continue to use the spirit of death in my hands. The Grim Reaper cannot break the shield for the time being, but at this moment, he dare not let go. If he lets go, he will be led by the other party's head. Alternatively, if you relax, the other person will have a chance to jump onto the wall. He won't let such a thing happen. Around its body, a faint aura surrounded it, and this mysterious aura shocked several super-strong people because this breath was a gas of death and a mysterious realm. Field. Even on the battlefield, this area is too weak and small to pose any threat. A few super-strong individuals naturally do not know that I have obtained the inheritance of the Temple of Heaven, the Pearl of Death, the power of the Lord of Death, and the power of the Lord of Life. The consciousness of the God of Life and the consciousness of the Lord of Death are both within the body. Even if my father falls, I will still pull your back. Without a divine shield, burn it with the power of my Jingyuan Shouyuan. Gongsun Tianjiao was completely depressed in her heart, giving up the qualification of elegance and wasting 100 years of her life. For a super genius, such a thing would undoubtedly ruin his future, even worse than death. Now I see that my divine shield cannot withstand the opponent's death aura. If this situation continues or is killed by the opponent, it's better to rise and die now than to fall and die for nothing. In this way, the terrible essence and life elements in the body are burned. Space is also constantly being destroyed, and within 1,000 miles, it is in the process of being destroyed. Get out of here. The Eastern Emperor was invincible in battle, and Beixiu Qing was shocked by the war between me and Gongsun Tianjiao. Now Gongsun Tianjiao has been forced to commit suicide and die, completely beyond imagination. The spirit of martial arts has forced Gongsun's super genius, the pseudo-god, to rise and die. This must be so shocking. If it spreads outside, the strong people of Shenwu continent should not be surprised to lose their chin. Seeing the destruction of space, Chufeng's pseudo-god attacked and was immediately shocked to the extreme. The resounding Nangong Mingyue and others shouted, then flashed through space and a powerful defense was executed. At the same time, Beiyu Xiuqing also used strong defense, and the two of them arrived at Nangong Mingyue and the others at the same time. The terrifying defense is connected, and the super powerhouses of two pseudo-gods and Mingyue from Nangong, who fall in love with each other, disappear 1,000 miles away. At this moment, I can't help but feel that if you help, it will only get worse. At best, the two of them can only bring the moon's second daughter to the southern palace to avoid distracting my attention. Sure enough, when I saw Nangong Mingyue and the others leave, the shocked expression on my face was also calm. I want to destroy this place, no one in this world can kill this place. The power of life, bless. Immortal body, the pearl of death, I have a lot of struggles in my heart, and at the same time, the power of life is also increasing. The magic of the immortal body came into play, and a fist-sized bead appeared on its head. The death gas between heaven and earth immediately became even more terrifying, and the pearl of death released a terrifying spirit of death. The pearl of death rotates with the meaning of death. Immediately, the light of death erupted with a destructive aura, and a constant trembling destruction between heaven and earth, after which there was a recovery, repeated time and time again. Within 1,000 miles, it has completely turned into a world of destruction. In the world of destruction, it is overwhelmed by the spirit of death and the immense pride of heaven's raging aura. But in this world, 2 cold drinks ring at the same time. Gong Sun Tianjiao and my voice both spoke a dead word at the same time. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Thank you for giving the catfish as a reward. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Thank you to the stranger for giving a reward of 17. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Feilu's novel, Fei Wants You to Look Good. Chapter 1. I time-traveled through a new book-seeking collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. I have traveled through time. The azure sea, shimmering with waves, the sea and sky are one color. A cruise ship enters this scene. Immediately after, a young figure jumped directly from the cruise ship and plunged into the seabed. With Mofan's continuous infiltration, the screen changed from blue to deep blue, and then to a rich pitch black at the back. With the help of pitch black lights, Mofan dived into a deep-sea sunken ship. Is this the indestructible ship that the Allied forces plundered and returned home, but encountered a storm at sea? There was a hint of surprise in Mofan's eyes. He is an explorer and also a treasure hunter. Exploring and searching for treasures is the pleasure of life. The sinking of the ship this time was determined by him after years of researching and spending months locating it. If nothing unexpected happens, this ship not only has national cultural relics, but also countless treasures. Opening the corroded cabin door, Mofan followed the information in his mind and his understanding of the ship, heading straight for the treasure trove. Not bad, it's a treasure trove. It seems that everything is broken, except for the steel gate that is not damaged. In front of Mofan's eyes, a 17th-century lifting gate appeared before us. The door firmly penetrated into the floor, and although the surrounding walls were made of wood and had some decay, they showed signs of steel plates mixed inside. Obviously, to enter, one can only open the door in front of them. There must be a mechanism next to this gate. Mofan immediately began searching on the side of the gate. This 17th-century European-style mechanism is naturally not too advanced. On the right side of the wall, a dark grid appeared in front of Mofan. Sudoku. On the dark grid, there are movable iron blocks with 1.9 numbers written on them. Obviously, as long as the moving number is moved, this dark grid can be opened directly. Mofan couldn't help but squint his eyes slightly, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, indicating that he had a chance to win. Of course, it's not because Mofan is a Sudoku genius. Nowadays, this type of password can be obtained in less than a second using a computer. Within a few seconds, the dark grid was opened, revealing the mechanism handle inside. I hope this mechanism doesn't break down. Mofan silently recited in his heart, then pulled hard. The sound of mechanical linkage sounded. Click, click, click. I saw the lifting gate rise up and down as expected. After the door is fully opened, Mofan was extremely surprised in his heart. I saw the whole room filled with gold ingots, as well as jewelry and jewels. The indifferent gold, even in the sea with only fluorescence, emits a charming and hazy color. The terrifying quantity of gold ingots under the sea made Mofan feel a wave of relief. Just as Mofan suppressed his heart and exclaimed, walking into the treasure trove. Suddenly. Boom! A loud noise suddenly came from the cabin. Then, as if it was about to shatter, web-like fragments kept appearing. Damn it! The use of this mechanism has caused the ship to disintegrate. The disintegration of this big ship is not fun. If the waste in the cabin is crushed, this is going to be buried deep under the sea. Mofan no longer cared about the gold in front of him, and quickly turned around to leave. But the speed of fragmentation is too fast. The water surges. Mofan was actually carried into the treasure trove by the water flow. The jewelry inside is also constantly rolling with the surging water flow. The ship kept pounding towards Mofan. But at this moment, a night pearl, the size of a night pebble, floated before Mofan's eyes. Looking at the faint glow of the night pearl in front of him, Mofan reached out and grabbed it like a strange gesture. At this moment, light surges forth. Mofan's consciousness was instantly lost. Where am I? Mofan couldn't help but slowly open his eyes. I saw myself lying in a small room. Immediately after, a seemingly unfamiliar yet incredibly familiar memory appeared in my mind. I have actually traveled through time. This is a world parallel to oneself. However, the technology tree in this world is slightly higher than on Earth. But the overall difference is not significant. The area of this world is also much larger than the world of Mofan before, but there are also regions that the Earth should have had before. But the regions that Earth does not have, this parallel world still exists. Just like the Himalayas, they also exist in this world, but there are 2 peaks as high as the Himalayas in this world. In addition to well-known regions, there are many unknown regions in this world. Obviously, this is a more magnificent world. And the place where Mofan is located is one of the world's major powers, Huaxia. Just as it is silent in one's own memory. Mofan's gaze suddenly changed. A night pearl shining with milky white light unexpectedly appeared before my eyes. This is the bead I caught before crossing over. Mofan recognized it at a glance. However, everything in front of Mofan was simply unbelievable. My own gaze, surprisingly, is within a beating and joyful heart. The blood flowing around the heart constantly washes away the night pearl in front of me. Every time the blood washed away, Mofan seemed to feel the bright red blood, which became even more vibrant. This strange scene left Mofan stunned. Next up. An indescribable message suddenly reached his mind. I don't know how long it has been when Mofan's gaze returned to the room. There was an indescribable shock in his eyes. That night pearl, surprisingly. Dragon Ball. 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 2. I have a Dragon Ball, new book for collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. I have a Dragon Ball. Mofan couldn't help but take a few deep breaths. I suppressed my shock and began to organize my thoughts. The information that just came from that night pearl is like a memory, and also like a deep level of dialogue, communication, and understanding. But ultimately, this Dragon Ball has become its owner and bound itself. The origin of the Dragon Ball is unknown to Mofan, but what he knows is that this Dragon Ball has an ability that is difficult for ordinary people to understand. However, these abilities require Mofan to thoroughly integrate this Dragon Ball into his own body. As for how to merge, it is precisely the blood in the heart that Mofan saw before that constantly washes away, until in the end, it completely integrates with himself. With the continuous deepening of integration, Mofan will gain various abilities. For example, simple exercises such as strengthening physical fitness, underwater breathing, sensing weather. The more difficult ones include controlling water flow, controlling lightning, and spreading clouds and rain. After complete integration, I won't directly become a fairy and become immortal, will I? Mofan's eyes showed a hint of anticipation. For such golden fingers, Mofan is naturally very satisfied. At this moment, outside the door of Mofan, a female voice could be heard. If it were Mofan in the past, perhaps he could only hear his voice and not recognize his language. However, after the fusion of Dragon Ball, Mofan felt that his hearing could actually hear what was being said outside clearly. Shishi, I have good news for you. I have been selected as a lucky guest to participate in the Wilderness Survival Program. When the time comes, let's go challenge together and maybe we can win the championship, become that lucky koi, and win that billion-yuan prize. Upon hearing this voice, Mofan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Wilderness Survival Program. Winning the championship can earn you lucky koi and $1 billion prize money. Mofan pondered over the memories in his mind. Survival in the Wilderness. This is an unprecedented live broadcast hosted by the United Nations worldwide. And the content of this live broadcast is exactly the literal meaning, to survive in the wilderness. Before the start of the program, 100 pairs will be randomly selected from all over the world as survival groups. That's 200 people. A pair of 2 partners. As participants, we will be arranged to go to an area in this world where no one has ever appeared before for wilderness survival. The hard requirement for winning is to survive for a year. For an adventure enthusiast like Mofan, survival in the wilderness is not difficult. The difficult thing is to survive in the wilderness. And it's a year. Even the world's top adventure enthusiasts may not be able to live in the wilderness for a year. You should know that to survive in the wild, in addition to basic knowledge, you also need to rely on the environment you are in. If there is no suitable environment, no matter how much technology you know, it is unnecessary. Not to mention natural and man-made disasters, illness, and the threat of beasts. Of course, there is no such difficult challenge, and I'm sorry for the $1 billion prize money. Especially, that lucky koi. In my memory, this lucky koi is similar to the Alipay koi in Mofan's previous life. Anyone who receives this koi can enjoy top-notch VIP service in the brand store that sponsors this live broadcast program. Spend within a certain amount and can also be waived directly. That is to say, things like buying LV bags and staying in a 7-star hotel can all be done for free. And this is a joint live broadcast program of various countries around the world, with tens of thousands of brands participating in sponsorship. It can be imagined that this reward is no less than 1 billion yuan in cash. So, once this program was broadcasted, it became popular all over the world. It's not that easy to participate in this program. The contestants are jointly drawn by the heads of various countries from around the world. There is no so-called favoritism or fraud, nor is there any backdoor. It's all about luck. So, some people with adventurous survival skills may not necessarily be able to choose. On the contrary, ordinary people would not intentionally learn anything about wilderness survival because of this program. Out of a population of billions, choose 200 people. This probability is lower than winning 5 million lottery tickets. Just upon hearing the conversation outside the door, Mofan clearly qualified for the competition. Participants can generally register by sending their relevant information through various social media tools, and the threshold is very low. Young people as young as 18 years old and middle-aged and elderly people as old as 55 have the opportunity to participate. However, as it is a 2-person wilderness survival program. Therefore, when registering, it is generally necessary to select your partner in advance and not change them. At this moment, the sound outside the door rang out again. What, Shishi, you don't want to go? The woman's voice rang out again. After a moment of silence on the other end of the phone, the woman's voice spoke anxiously again and said, although it may be a bit dangerous, as long as you persist, there may be high bonuses. Moreover, as long as you successfully survive for 3 months, you can still get a share of the live broadcast. Are you getting married? Well. Okay. Forget it then. The woman's voice was filled with helplessness. The sound ends here. After a few minutes of silence outside the door. Outside Mofan's door, footsteps could be heard. In a few seconds, Mofan's door was opened. A young woman appeared in Mofan's sight. The woman's face is very exquisite, without any makeup. Her fair skin is like a pure water lotus. Xiaofan, are you feeling better? The woman said. Mofan was stunned for a moment, and then in his mind, memories of this woman surged wildly. Wait. Is this my sister? When Mofan thought about it here, he couldn't help but be taken aback. Shouldn't time travel be all orphans? 3 things to do when reading. Read, collect, and reward. Chapter 3. Survival in the Wilderness, a new book seeking collection. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Mofan's sister, named Su Zimo, is 3 years older than Mofan. The two are not siblings, but they are even closer than siblings. As for why, we need to start from 3 years ago. 3 years ago, Mofan's parents passed away. At the age of 18, Su Zimo had just been admitted to a prestigious university in another city. The death of parents means there are only 2 paths to choose between the two. The first older sister is at the age of college and can be self-reliant, working part-time, while the younger brother is 15 years old and only a junior high school student, only going to an orphanage. And the second choice, of course, is for the sister to take care of the younger brother, and the two of them rely on each other. At that time, some parents and friends advised their sister to go to college and let Mofan go to an orphanage. It's not easy to attend a prestigious university. Don't miss out on your life just because of your younger brother. For a girl in the prime of her youth, this is a difficult choice. In Mofan's memory, he vaguely remembers the last night when Su Zimo decided whether to go to college. Su Zimo told the young Mofan, "Tomorrow I won't be at home during the day, and the rice will be heated and placed in the rice cooker. I will keep the dishes in the refrigerator, and you can use the microwave to heat them yourself. Don't run around until I come back tonight, okay? Are you coming back tonight?" Young Mofan couldn't help but ask. "Why didn't you come back?" "Shouldn't you go to college?" said Mofan, a young boy, with a hint of fear. "After going to college, what will you do in the future?" I can actually go to an orphanage, but it's said to be pretty good," murmured the young Mofan in a low voice. "Not bad, they're all scams. There's nothing wrong with them." But Mofan's childhood words were interrupted before he could finish speaking. "Did you forget that I came out of an orphanage? If it weren't for my parents, I probably would still be hungry now." "Alright, stop talking. I've made up my mind, I'll take care of you from now on. You can't be naughty anymore." Su Zimo couldn't help but poke Mofan's forehead and gave a brilliant smile. This smile made the young Mofan feel even closer to this young sister in his heart. However, Mofan, who had traveled through, saw in his memory fragments that Su Zimo's eyes were incredibly red. After that day, Su Zimo gave up the opportunity to go to college, resolutely shouldered the burden of his family, and took on the responsibility of this family. The memories of these scenes belonged to both this body and Mofan. This made Mofan, who was an orphan in his past life, feel a slight touch in his heart. Thoughts return. Mofan looked at Su Zimo's concerned expression in front of him and couldn't help but smile, saying, "It's okay. My body is doing well now." "Nonsense, you've been running a high fever before." Su Zimo finished speaking without giving Mofan a chance to explain. Baiji's hand was directly pressed against Mofan's forehead. Su Zimo's pure black gemstone-like eyes looked at Mofan with a hint of worry. Looking at the sister who was so close, Mofan couldn't help but be stunned. After a long time of awakening, he hurriedly said, I didn't lie to you, did I? When Mofan crossed over, this body was indeed suffering from a high fever that never subsided. However, due to the Dragon Ball, all those adverse symptoms have already disappeared. Even the physique is much stronger than that of 18-year-old peers. It's really not hot anymore, it seems like your parents have blessed you in heaven. Su Zimo couldn't help but stretch her eyebrows and feet, teasing with a smile. Mofan obviously didn't want to continue getting entangled in this topic and directly changed the subject, saying, by the way, I just heard outside the door that you qualified for the Wilderness Survival Program. Did you hear me? I made a phone call specifically in my own room, with a living room in between. Su Zimo said with a hint of surprise. Isn't that the key point? Mofan glanced at the cheap sister speechlessly and then said directly, how about it? Are you going? Su Zimo reached out and knocked melon seeds on Mofan's head, saying, these things are not something you are considering. However, it hasn't been knocked yet. Mofan, who was subconsciously reacting, grabbed his arm and said, I'm not a child anymore, I can get my ID card. If you had said that before, I might not believe it, but today, I might have believed it. Su Zimo suddenly smiled. Mofan couldn't help but be stunned and said, why did you believe it today? Look at you, even if you grab the girl's hand, you don't let go or blush. Isn't that because you've grown up? Su Zimo raised her arm, which was grabbed by Mofan, and smiled inexplicably. At this moment, Mofan noticed that one of his hands was still holding Su Zimo's arm. Immediately, Mofan couldn't help but blush and quickly released Su Zimo's arm. However, Yu Guang glanced at the arm, and the previous feeling was like a pool of warm water that could melt in his hand, extremely comfortable. Huh, are you shy? Su Zimo teased. Mofan, a person of 2 generations, could not have been defeated by the cheap sister in front of him. He immediately said, how could I be shy? There are so many women chasing me at school. I held the hand of countless girls. Upon hearing this, Su Zimo couldn't help but express a hint of sadness and said, it's fortunate that you said 3 years ago that you wanted to marry your sister and rely on each other. Now you're going to change your heart. It's really because your sister is getting older, she's not good. Looking anymore. Mofan was speechless and choked. Is this sister of mine a younger brother control? Seeing Mofan stop speaking, Su Zimo couldn't help but speak again, I was indeed selected as a group for the Wilderness Survival Program, but my partner she just told me she's not going. Without a partner, I would lose my eligibility to participate. So I won't go either. Su Zimo said with no joy or sadness on her face, as for your tuition fee, don't worry. I have found another part-time job selling milk tea at night. I won't be able to have dinner with you tonight, but remember to wash the dishes when you eat alone tonight. Su Zimo and Mofan have long used up the money left by their parents in recent years. The house is also rented. The 2 of them were able to barely survive before. But now that Mofan is going to college, the high cost of tuition and living expenses, which can reach tens of thousands, has become the biggest challenge at present. If Su Zimo can participate in wilderness survival, even if she doesn't persist until the end, as long as she can persist for more than 3 months, she can get a share of the rewards in the live broadcast room, which is definitely a considerable cost. Just without a partner, even if you lose qualification. Although Su Zimo is very helpless, she will not show it in Mofan. She can handle these things alone. At this moment. If I say, can we still participate in wilderness survival? Mofan suddenly spoke up. Impossible. Without a partner, one loses qualification. Su Zimo shook her head. However, halfway through shaking his head, he suddenly turned to Mofan and said suspiciously, what did you just say about us? What does this mean? Mofan couldn't help but smile, took out his phone, and handed it to Su Zimo. I only saw a few simple words displayed on my phone. Mr. Mofan, congratulations on qualifying for the Wilderness Survival competition. Please arrive at the local ZF in one day and present this message. There will be a dedicated person to pick you up and drop you off. Feilu's novel, Fei wants you to look good.